I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright, the same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Bushido Brown 21, and today I want to talk about Sleeping Dogs 2. Now, for those of you who remember the first Sleeping Dogs game, that was a huge success. And maybe 3 years later, after the PlayStation 4 came out, they decided to add all the DLC into the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Now, Sleeping Dogs 2. Originally, everything was script. They had the characters together. They had the publishers, that's Square Enix. But it was never in production. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Give me 1 second while I get my papers out. So, the developers were a Canadian video game company called United Front Games. This company developed Sleeping Dogs. Now, it says here that Vancouver-based developer United Front Games, best known working on Sleeping Dogs, Mod Nation Race Wars, and Triad Wars, is no more. According to reports from former employees of the studio, news of the studio's closure comes from a United Front's latest title, Smash and Grab, in the middle of the free weekend Steam. Now, it's Smash and Grab. Now, we all know that the company was formed in 2007 by former employees of Electronic Arts, Radical Entertainment, Black Box Games, Rockstar, and the game goes on and on and on. Now, why did they shut down? I don't know. In my honest opinion, I think that it was shut down because of money issues, cutbacks, layoffs. That's my only guess. Or maybe the company, didn't go so well. I think which I don't know why, but they made a good job making Sleeping Dogs. But anyway, on Sleeping Dogs 2. Now, the game had already had its designs all set out together. Here's what it says. Sleeping Dogs the sequel would have picked off right after Sleeping Dogs, the first Sleeping Dogs game. Once again, you get to play as Detective Wei Shen, who, as you guys remember, Wei Shen was going undercover trying to take down the Sun On Yi triads during the first game. But this time, he's not undercover. He's a detective, but he's not undercover. So, he teams up with a corrupted cop named Henry Feng. Now, we don't know much about Henry Feng yet, but we still know that he is corrupt. Now, as they explore China's Pearl River mega city, the players... Wait a second. We'll have... It looks like you get to play as Jane 10. I think so. As another character named Jane 10. Oh, the story plays out as Wei and Feng are talking to each other, discussing what the next step of an investigation should be, deciding to split up and follow different leads. Wei's thread will follow him as he busts heads of information, while Feng plants evidence breaking into a suspect's house. Yep, that's dirty shit to me. Depending on the character select, the audience and characters will only see one side of the story until both threads are played. This gives us an ample opportunity to explore both the characters fully and gives the player the revelatory experience of discovering both sides of the story. So, it says, I think, in my honest opinion, they're letting us play either as the good cop or the dirty cop, as far as I'm concerned. And then there's another inspector named Jane Tang, who's another character is in the game, and we don't know who that is either. Um, Now, it says something about the co-op. Let me find that real quick. Ah, yeah, here it is. Now, the plan for Sleeping Dogs was support full-on co-op as well with players being able to run around the world solo or team up for co-op specific missions and challenges. And let me tell you something. If this requires internet connection, I'm gonna be pissed off. Missions and challenges. Some of these would have been as simple as vehicle races, fight club challenges, fending off waves and enemies, but Sleeping Dog 2 hoped to differentiate itself through the presence of procedurally generated missions that could be played in a co-op or single player mode. In theory, the game would have analyzed where the host of co-op sessions was in the single player story, assemble a unique campaign from various existing pieces, characters, and objectives. Now, if this thing worked, it could have been awesome, but I seem to remember getting awfully bored of Skyrim's. Okay, this person is really way out of context. Okay. One of the elements that developers hope will keep the procedurally generated campaigns fresh was a twist. There could suddenly turn an establishment mission its head. The document used an example of corruption case surprisingly and procedurally turning into a murder case when a target NPC is found dead. The biggest problem for the feature, like Skyrim, will be making sure the procedural questions didn't feel repetitive after the fifth one. Procedural content is incredibly tough to pass off as a handcraft content. We need to look into any further in No Man's Sky to see how the procedure goes. Again, we don't know how United Front Games. Oh, it says United Front Games obviously had big plans for Sleeping Dogs 2. As a part of a pre-production and before Square Enix had given the green light to move forward, the developers had worked on very basic experimental prototypes, I'm told. The game was very far along, one source said. At the time of this project's cancellation, the core design was still very much in flux. There was a lot of work, such as schedule planning and proof of concept tech, that went into Sleeping Dogs 2 pitch, one source said. One who worked at the company during at the time. One problem for Sleeping Dogs 2 was that Hitman and Tomb Raider had taken priority at Square Enix. Sons of bitches. Which meant that there were less money to the budget towards Sleeping Dogs 2. That's the whole reason. Budget cuts. I mean, I know Hitman was good and Tomb Raider, but come on, y'all, really? I was actually looking forward to this game actually coming out. Complicating matters was tough. It was to make the original Sleeping Dogs, though ultimately published by Square Enix 2 in 2012. Sleeping Dogs started as an extension of Activision's True Crime series in 2007. True Crime was Activision's attempt at Grand Theft Auto with sequels set in different parts of the world. Only True Crime Streets of LA, the one where Snoop Dogg was a lockable character, True Crime New York were ever released. The third entry, Hong Kong, was canceled in summer of 2011. Despite almost being done, Square Enix later acquired the rights to the game and renamed it Sleeping Dogs, obviously. Now it says, though Sleeping Dogs 2 was dead, Square Enix wanted to work with United Front Games and intrigued by some of the multiplayer ideas that were pitched. From the ashes of Sleeping Dogs 2 came Triad Wars. Now this one was basically Sleeping Dogs, but more of an online feature. Yeah, it was a free-to-play multiplayer-centric take on Sleeping Dogs. The response to a new Sleeping Dogs game without its main attraction, a crime story set in the open world, left fans disappointed before Triad Wars had even had a chance to enter the beta. Once again, budget cuts. And the future of Sleeping Dogs, if there is any, isn't clear. Open world games are ridiculously expensive to the procedure, of course. And when going up against publishers like Ubisoft, who've turned making open world games into a factory assembly line, Rockstar Games, whose Grand Theft Auto 5 sold over 7 million copies, that's what I'm talking about, was released in 2013, is a tough sell. Man. So yeah, that's basically all that this says about Sleeping Dogs 2. Now hopefully, in the future, United Front Games will make a comeback, and Sleeping Dogs 2 will be the bomb. Until then, that's all I gotta say. This is Bushida Brown 21. I'll see you around.